that invited Kulusevski. Taking on Dallo.
What a cross.
In a cross that invited Kulusevski. Bergvall, Kulusevski, Bentancur. Danso. Danso to play it in. Madison to have a flick. Casemiro out of harm's way.
Yeah, Tottenham started really well, sharp on the ball.
Spence chasing away from Fernandes. Jet Spence. In the end, neither one thing nor the other.
He just drives down the outside. I mentioned it before, that is going to be a problem for United. Bruno Fernandes is having to get from central midfield out to the Tottenham left back. That's a hell of a run. Out and back in.
Competition returns in his position again now, of course, with Destiny Udogie ready to sit at least on the Spurs bench to begin with. Bentancur tumbled and through the bank's blue.
Yeah, just a clash of heads before that. Bentancur and Zirkzee both jumping together.
No damage done. United's free kick. Harry Maguire takes. Dougu gathers. Maguire. Dallo. Forward to Højlund, who's hungry for a goal. 14 games in all competitions without one. Man in the Premier League since he scored against Nottingham Forest on the 7th of December. Bergvall. Spence. Bentancur slips away from Fernandes. Faced by Mazraoui. He's of course already beaten Manchester United twice this season, comfortably up at Old Trafford in September. Became Erik ten Hag's last, or penultimate home game. Too strong for Son.
I was just thinking, if I was Tottenham, I'd be peppering this side with Spence, Maddison and Son, and I wouldn't leave United alone, because you probably get an idea of it there if you just see where Zirkzee is. Zirkzee's gone very central, so what Ruben Amorim has done, he's played him in the same position he did against Newcastle, where he hooked him after 25 minutes, but he said, you haven't got the defensive responsibilities of coming over here, and Bruno Fernandes is going to have to get over. I can't see that working, it doesn't look right at all. And Tottenham are pretty decent on the ball, and they should expose it.
Maguire looking on for Højlund. Højlund's got there before Davis. Rasmus Højlund! Beaten out by Vicario, uncomfortably. Fernandes onto it, Bergvall away. Wide again from De Ligt. Taken up here by Alejandro Garnacho! Great reach, Vicario. Dallo! Off the line.
So many chances for United in such a short period of time.
Casemiro. Dallo. Away behind by Davis.
Well, it started by Højlund up against Ben Davis in that channel. He just gets in there. Davis doesn't know where he is. The only thing wrong with this initial shot is it's right at the goalkeeper. But then as it comes back out, Garnacho has a chance. And this is what he likes, cutting in off that right-hand side, left-hand side onto his right foot, sorry. It's desperate for Tottenham. Deep cross, that Manchester United back five is squashed too narrow. And as it breaks, Bergvall hits it. He's on the stretch, and he can't get a strong hand to it, so he softly parries it into a really dangerous area. And then you're looking at who's on the move. Is it the defender? Is it the attacker? It's the attacker. It's Maddison, De Ligt, Maguire, and the rest of them. They're static. Postecoglou, fist pump.
Well, from a personal perspective, it's the bullseye he really craved, James Maddison. He had never previously scored against Manchester United in 11 Premier League games. That was his 29th goal attempt against United. And finally, he has his way.
I think for both teams, attacking is going to be the best form of defence.
Tottenham fans will be wary of the knowledge that Spurs have led in 5 of 6 Premier League home games recently and won none of those. A Tottenham lead comes with no guarantees. Up here against Fulham and drew, 2-0 up here against Chelsea and lost, 2-1 up against Wolves and drew, 1-0 up against Newcastle and lost, 1-0 up also against Leicester and lost. Wayland. Bentancur. Clashing with Fernandes. You'll remember at Old Trafford, Bruno Fernandes was sent off for a challenge on Maddison, a red card that was subsequently rescinded. Swung wide by Fernandes. Dorgu, Garnacho outside of him, Højlund through the middle. Alejandro Garnacho, Bruno Fernandes, Diogo Dalot. Casemiro. Dorgu. That's where he needs to be.
Yeah, they shouldn't be afraid to cross at United. They've got two big lads in there, Højlund and Zirkzee.
Oh, that's a nice diagonal. Casemiro. That is two. Dalot. Fernandes. Watchalong. Tumble, Peter Banks was close by and saw nothing untoward. Kulusevski can raid. De Ligt in reverse. Dorgu helped him out. Jed Spence. So, Porro. Bentancur. Maddison. Spence. Matisse Tell. Kulusevski. Laid down in front of him. Spence. Son. Looks like by Casemiro from an area with congestion. He ran into another crowded space and was fouled.
He's offside, I think.
He is.
Just spinning's the right idea, he just goes a little early. They've just got this easy out pass all the time to the Tottenham left back.
Spence dashing infield. Bergvall having a look. Strong first 20 from Tottenham. Kulusevski. Spurs who have, of course, gone out of two cup competitions in short order, but one last time out in the Premier League at Brentford. Not bad for United either. They are, of course, still in the FA Cup. As Callum was mentioned just before kick-off, this could very easily be the Europa League final. We know because of the way the group stage has worked out that they will be on opposite sides of the draw, and it's made this week. And they are the two competition favourites. Maddison. Fouled by Majraoui. Finds him Bill Bilbao the Wednesday before the Premier League season ends.
Madison started to see where the space is in the game.
Fernandes, they're seeing a lot of each other. Spurs couldn't progress, but he comes up with the ball and then presents it to Maguire. And Maguire is marching. Højlund. Rasmus Højlund behind Xerxes. Held away calmly by Kulusevski. Asking for Son, who couldn't make it stick. Majraoui, Xerxes. Beyond Bergvall. In for Højlund. Casemiro. Dorgu. Joshua Xerxes!
Yeah, Højlund and Xerxes, when the ball actually is played into them, they haven't had it much, they've looked quite sharp. Just holds it in there himself and manipulates the position, Xerxes.
Of Manchester United's first goal here, who has hoisted it high.
Well, we saw that stat before the game where he's not had a goal or an assist since November, and his last 13 games can actually have much of a better chance than this. It's a brilliant run from Højlund, which takes players away. He has so much time, and he's leaning back. Trying to lift it into that far corner. Oh, two big chances, United.
Bergvall caught on the ball. Xerxes threatening again. Cancelo's clearance.
No, it's a big moment, really good play. His first touch is really good. Sometimes his first touch can run away from him. He's furious. Ruben Amorim.
Well, Garnacho's last goal in the Premier League was actually the last under Ruud van Nistelrooy for Manchester United. Oddly enough, against Leicester. It's been famine ever since for him. Dorgu again for Garnacho. And now Dallo, and Højlund couldn't reach it. And Dorgu kept it in. Well, quick to turn. Kulusevski outside of him. Toll inside of him. And Son well advanced as well. And Maddison joining in here. And Spence from left back once more. Jed Spence. Son. By Fernandes. A bit of acreage ahead of Dorgu here. Fernandes, think about it. Seeks to hurdle Casemiro, and Tottenham have a free kick.
Yeah, both teams looking dangerous when they go forward. I think when you get past Tottenham's midfield and onto their back four, they struggle. For United, it's a little bit different. I think it's more of a case of the space in front of the back four is vast, where Fernandes and Casemiro aren't able to cover that space, so Tottenham are getting towards the edge of the United box quite easily.
Maddison. It's a beautifully weighted ball for Son. Son's pull back, tells it! And Manner's reaction.
It's a good hit. Tottenham find space down this United right-hand side with a beautiful little pass. It's a tough one for him. It's a really good contact, a little bit behind him, on his left foot.
Corner, Casemiro near post. Kulusevski gathers. Maddison. Floated in by Bentancur. To play by Mazraoui. By Son. Davis just about found Maddison. Kulusevski, Maddison. Bergvall.
He's a lovely player, Maddison, when he gets on the ball.
Bergvall, Bentancur. Kulusevski still interested. To look what's rid. Spared the cup tie against Leicester, Matthijs de Ligt. Yoro, by the way, is one of many Manchester United players not fit even for the 20 today. Porro, Kulusevski, Porro, swept away by Dalot, as far as Bergvall.
Yeah, Tell Son should really be driving across the Manchester United defenders there off the back of that cross.
Bentancur, Spence, Maddison gets another bite. So sent off when last he played against Manchester United for Southampton in August 2019. Actually played a lovely ball in for Vestergaard to score a Southampton equaliser in that game, but then Mike Dean showed him a second yellow for swiping Scott McTominay. And here he is again, Dan. So
Maybe couldn't see, but Ruben Amorim was jumping up and down on the side of the pitch.
tackle Casemiro. Nicely moved on by Xerxes. Fernandes has travelled a fair way here. His cross was seen by Bentancur. And Spence can go the other way. And now Son Heung-min. Mazraoui held him up. Spence supported him. Bentancur, Tell. Maddison went down under challenge from Maguire, and Peter Banks looked the other way.
just can't get the ball back. They've just got so many easy out passes, particularly this one, Spurs. And the balance of United in the out of possession is nowhere near good enough. And that possession starts going up and up. Look at Bruno Fernandes, body language, just having to get over here. It isn't right, that.
Kulusevski, smart run from Bentancur. Too way behind by De Ligt. Manchester United vulnerable from this category of situation this season. Without swing, it's come off Davis, come down for Bergvall, but it just wouldn't sit.
Yeah, they should be better at these today, United. They've got Højlund, Xerxes, Maguire, De Ligt, Casemiro, all decent in the air. Casemiro's just pushed. A little nudge.
Of course, it was on this ground too. I think you were here, Gary, weren't you, for the League Cup quarter-final, where Son scored direct from the corner.
Yeah. Say about the distance between two central midfield players. Look at where Casemiro is, look at where Bruno Fernandes is. That cannot be right. Breaks all rules in football. Look at them. Absolute madness, that.
This went in fiercely on Mazraoui. It's just a ticking off.
Yeah, United may win today, they may score goals, but I have to say the structure of the team is awful. Just lunges in, looking to get away without a yellow card. But the gaps in that midfield between Fernandes and Casemiro, that's the tactic actually. They've been asked to do that. Bruno's been asked to come out to this side. It isn't right.
Not much for Harry Maguire to keep that in. His acrobatics enjoyed by the Great White Wall.
I mean, look at this. Bruno Fernandes is playing right wing. There's two of them in midfield now split. It's embarrassing.
Spence Fattel.
You wouldn't see this in under 9s or under 10s football.
And Spence has asked Kulusevski to do some chasing, which willingly he does. There's a throw from Dorgu.
And there was a reason for it. It's because of what Xerxes did against Newcastle when he kept having to come out to one side. So what Ruben Amorim has said is you stay in there, but that means then it's impossible for them two behind to deal with it. Look at that space in midfield there through the middle of them. Shocking.
Bentancur, Porro. That game you're referring to, Gary, was one that, as you rightly say, began so badly for Manchester. That's when they had Casemiro, Eriksen in midfield as well, didn't they?
Yeah, so they had Casemiro and Eriksen in midfield. They had Xerxes playing off to one side. He kept having to go out to that side, so he subbed him and brought Maina on. And now you see the pair of them together in there. on the ball, but when Spurs are on the ball, they're getting pulled apart because Bruno's been asked to come over to this side. And they still look really dangerous going forward, United, when they do attack. They don't have to make it hard for themselves. Because this left-hand side of the Spurs is, you know, bingo time. If there was a full-back and getting on the ball like this all day, but just happy.
So, beaten to it by De Ligt. Casemiro poking it through. Danso necessarily aware of Garnacho, and the referee's brought it back.
Yeah, it was a foul. I think Davies just went in on him late.
Banks, the referee, in charge of North London, Manchester for the second time in a fortnight. He had Arsenal, Manchester City 2 weeks ago. His only previous Spurs appointment this season was at Tamworth. He's awarded a free kick here for Manchester United, over which is Bruno Fernandes. De Ligt, and the flag is up.
Yeah, you're just watching it. You can see that he's experienced, De Ligt. I mean, I don't think Ruben Amorim's happy with him. He knows. So he steps back in. Watch number 4. Steps back in, but then just goes. I mean, he's never getting back onside. He's really angry, Ruben Amorim. He's just absolutely going mad at his bench. His arms are up in the air. He's shouting at people. Not quite sure what it is he's angry about. The thing that I can see that the biggest problem is so far is how this team's set up. If you can't get to people and the other team have got an easy pass out all the time, you'll always be up against it. There's an imbalance.
Mounting hard on Casemiro, another Manchester United free kick. 20 games into his United reign now, Ruben Amorim. It's the 21st, and actually the best moments have tended to come away. The win at Manchester City, the draw at Liverpool. The really grim grey days have been at Old Trafford. Bournemouth, Brighton, Palace. Fernandes. In by Casemiro. Roland's getting up but couldn't make contact, and Spence heaves it out.
Yeah, they've got good height up there, United.
Maguire has stayed forward, and so indeed has De Ligt. And Casemiro won a header. Bentancur was shielding. And Son is turning out of trouble but running into trouble. Ready for Casemiro to slide in and earn himself a yellow card.
Himself. It's just the angle of the tackle coming from behind that does for Casemiro with the yellow card, and he's holding just below his right knee. He was never there to win that ball, really.
Both of these sides wince at the sight of further potential injury concern. Postecoglou has a more robust bench than he's had for a while. A relatively senior set of alternatives. Should Casemiro have to give way, which doesn't appear to be the case, and his likely replacement would be a teenager.
Yeah, I mean, we know his legs are struggling. He's getting on in his years. He's been a sensational player. But to have him out there is tough enough in itself. But then to have him out there where you're leaving him on his own, And look where Bruno is now. Look where Bruno is. That's a central midfield partner. I mean, look at that space that they can just play through into Maddison or up into Tell. It's unbelievable.
Spence. So driving and exchanging with Porro. So ploughing on forward. Son flicked up off Maguire, making another the favourite to grab it. Dorgu charged down by Porro.
Yeah, he jumped, Porro, and took a chance.
Spence is well on his toes. This harried again by Maddison. Casemiro puts it out of play. Casemiro seems to be moving okay. Of the young Manchester United substitutes, the Malian Sekou Kone would appear to have the profile most likely to replace a senior man in midfield, defensive midfield player, Spence. Riley's challenge, and Peter Banks wants a word. Up into the 45th minute. Min over Tottenham's free kick. The outfield 10, only Jed Spence behind the ball. The rest committed. And Son flies it in. And Fernandes finally clears it. He brought it down, Fernandes crashed it forward. Hoyland fought for it. It broke again for Xerxes. And then Fernandes left it behind for Maddison, who has 3 Tottenham shirts in advance of him. Called up by Dorgu.
Strange atmosphere in this first half. You can just tell both teams are struggling. Home fans definitely not comfortable at 1-0. United have had a couple of good moments. The performance has been really poor.
Dorgu, Garnacho, Casemiro. De Ligt. Dalot, that's come off Son. So Davis measured his clearance, and the half-time whistle went, and Spurs are the brighter-eyed, the bushier-tailed, looking a little more like themselves. James Maddison, on his return from injury, scored the only goal of the half just before the quarter hour. United did have their moments. Garnacho blazed the best of those over, and so they have a deficit to concern them again. Down the lane at the break, it's Tottenham Hotspur 1, Manchester United 0.
There's an historic night of boxing coming up. Dimitri Bivol looking to avenge his solitary career defeat against Artur Beterbiev as their pair lock horns in an undisputed world light heavyweight title rematch. And fresh from knocking out Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois is back to face former champion Joseph Parker. It's available to Sky residential customers and also non-Sky customers via the Sky Sports box office app in the UK and Ireland. Virgin Media and EETV customers, please contact your operator. Go to skysports.com/box office for more information. Back to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium very shortly, where Ruben Amorim is trying to turn things around. His side trail by a goal-0. What options does he have with an extremely young and inexperienced bench to turn to?
He knows how shaky they can be, a little bit nervy. They're going to make sure they defend well, and in big moments, if you get them, make it count.
Spurs have got a terrible record when they go in front at their own stadium, Jermaine. How do they hold on to this lead or possibly even extend it?
Yeah, I was going to say that. I don't think we need to. I think they need to try and score the second goal. I think the next goal in this is big. I thought they started well, but you know, like small details again. The next chance they've got to take it, and you know, instead of holding on, just trying to get the next goal.
Here's your commentary team, Gary Neville and Peter Drury.
Kelly, thank you. And yes, self-evidently, Manchester United need to score a goal here, and scoring goals, especially on their travels, has been a tough business for them. Just 11 away from home in 11 Premier League games up to now this season. Only Everton and Southampton have fewer on the road. And as you have graphically illustrated there is no offensive experience at all, which is in no sense to denigrate. No doubt some terrific young players who are waiting for a potential chance today on that exceptional United bench.
Yeah, but I actually think that the one thing that Ruben Amorim will have said positively to his team at half-time is get the ball up to Højlund and Xerxes, because they have actually looked quite sharp.
Will be flattened, United's free kick, and Kulusevski's feeling that.
Just get caught by the arm.
Denmark, Sweden, that. Scandinavian battle, in which Kulusevski came second best. Bruno Fernandes with the free kick. Depth towards Maguire. Madison only got a little bit of it. It was grateful that Bentancur was there to back him up. Matisse Telescapes. Spence went early. After his interception. Kulusevski. Maddison. Kulusevski. Dorgu tight to him. Bergvall to support. Porro. Fernandes defending adeptly. Dorgu couldn't give it him back. Trying to prompt Kulusevski, who did keep it in, and De Ligt had to nick it behind.
Yeah, both teams were messing around with it in this corner. He just didn't have enough pace on the ball for De Ligt to let it run out. And he just doesn't take a chance in the end.
To take. Son and Kulusevski offering short. Overlooks that offer. Porro's delivery. Maguire's clearing header. Wide again from Maddison. Ripped in by Porro. And set back for Bergvall. And now Danso and Tell without real force. Tell, just about in time. Dorgu. Garnacho couldn't bring it with him. Maddison. Bergvall. Bentancur. Spence. Out by De Ligt, and again by Højlund. Gathered by Bentancur, a little bit of space ahead of Spence. Son outside of him. To Murray Dallow. And then to overclap his cross. He will be wary of their recent record here. 7 Premier League home games without a win for Tottenham since they thumped Aston Villa at the start of November. 105 days, 15 weeks. De Ligt. That against Højlund. Spurs here would take them up to 30 points and on goal difference ahead of Everton, a point ahead of Manchester United. Starting the day as they did these two, 14th and 15th on the Premier League table. United haven't had a bottom half finish since the last season that Spurs doubled them, 89-90. By Dorgu, and settled for a corner. Couldn't achieve that. Maguire out. Porro promptly in at Garnacho.
Yeah, Porro was in quickly.
Davis, Maddison. Down the line by Son. Spence on the overlap. Escaping Mazraoui. This is terrific from Jed Spence. Kulusevski towel. A little twitch at it, and it flew high.
He claps Ange Postecoglou because it's good play down that left-hand side for Spurs. Jed Spence just rolls Mazraoui and then cuts across him. He just plays it into an area, gets a little touch off Kulusevski, and in the end, Tel just tries to deflect it. It comes at him really quickly.
There is a sense that Spurs, given their record for conceding leads, really do hunger here for a second goal. They've kept just one clean sheet at home this Premier League season against Everton here back in August. Maguire, it's a beautifully weighted ball for Dalot, but the flag's up. Vicario made the save in any case.
Yeah, it was a good run from Dalot. The Spurs push up, he just doesn't bend it enough, but he could have been on because Porro on this near side, I think, is a couple of yards deep, and if the flag goes up really early.
In fairness, I think, Gary, the referee let it go.
Yeah.
If that ball had gone in and VAR had proved it onside, it would have stood.
Yeah, I think he was onside. It was a good run.
Casemiro, Xerxes.
Yeah, it's what United have to do. When the ball's been played into Xerxes and Højlund, they've been a threat. You know, the Spurs crowd will get nervy. They just haven't got the confidence. It's been a long time since they've seen a Premier League victory here.
Over that period without a Premier League win, which, as mentioned, is 15 weeks, they have had home wins here against Manchester United in the League Cup, against Liverpool in the League Cup, as well as Elfsborg in Europe. Xerxes taken on here by Garnacho. Vicario's across. Garnacho again. Found only the instep of Danso.
United just started to pick up the pace.
Casemiro, Fernandes. Xerxes. Maguire. De Ligt.
Well, United's big chances in this match have fallen to Garnacho. He makes a good run. It was blasted at him by Xerxes. His first touch is good again, as it was in the first half. He's under a little burrow and just doesn't get his shot away enough quickly. I think he has to hit through with his laces into that far corner. Tries to side foot it.
Manchester United's first shot on target since the 10th minute of the game. But that has been a more encouraging passage, no question, and they're hungry for the ball again here. Casemiro. Maguire. Dorgu. Garnacho. Pushing back Porro. Mazraoui, despite losing his footing, got the ball to Fernandes. And Dalot hopes he's won a corner. And his hopes are dashed.
Yeah, he shakes his head. There was a little ricochet between them. I think he got it right in the end.
To what extent, Gary, and I acknowledge that to some extent I'm asking you to guess here, but to what extent does Ruben Amorim trust the bench he has as he would any other bench? When he needs to freshen, will he freshen? or is your expectation that more than normally he'd ask the 11 to play the 90 minutes?
Yeah, I think he'll ask the 11 on the pitch to do as much as they possibly can and get him through the game. I think eventually it might be that one or two of the young lads have to be used.
Fernandes. Dalot. Fernandes, good clearance, Danso came down for Garnacho. Terrific stop, sharply down at his near post by Vicario.
Oh, it was a great cross from Bruno Fernandes to start with. And Vicario did what Onana couldn't do in the first half, and that's push it into an area where there wasn't an oncoming United player. The Spurs players get out. But Garnacho's had all the big chances for United. He's getting closer.
Casemiro, Xerxes. Fernandes. Dalot. Fernandes. High from Bergvall. Run by Dorgu. Here's Garnacho looking to tiptoe around the back again. But running out of pitch.
This cross is fantastic. Danso does well to clear it. It's a good touch by Garnacho. In all of his chances that he's had, his first touch has been perfect. It's just the finish. He hasn't been able to get that right yet. The Spurs haven't been able to get out, and they still can't. Best period of the game for United by a long way.
Sweep from Bentancur. Off goes Son. Taking on Mazraoui. And tackled adeptly from behind by Fernandes.
What pass.
Fernandes, that's a gorgeous spread. Dorgu couldn't meet it. With a pass for Højlund, and he was offside in any case.
This is where for United having Bruno Fernandes, when they're on the ball in these deeper areas, works. See, he's always offside because he can find a pass. It's more of a problem without the ball like that.
Spence for Son, and Spence kept on galloping. Son found Maddison, and Maddison found Tell. His shot is deflected behind.
Yes, a little dink pass and run. Maddison finds Tell. Delict just holds his ground, just stands off a little bit.
Matisse Tell does have a goal against Manchester United in the Champions League game for Bayern Munich. September of 2023, a 4-3 game in the group stage in Bavaria. Son for Maddison. Maddison flashed it in. Son gathered. Son! It's riddled wide.
Yeah, he worked his way inside well, Son, but there's just so many bodies and red shirts in front of him. He's Delict in the end.
Porro's take. Out by Dalot. First to it is Bentancur. Wide again from Maddison. Porro to re-deliver. Tell hit it. And was charged down by Mazraoui, importantly.
Just when you thought United were having the best period of the game, Tottenham have just punched back and responding.
Tell. Son. Porro. Kulusevski. By Dorgu. Fernandes from very deep. Hoyland prevented from turning by the adhesive James Maddison.
Yeah, it was good from Maddison. Hoyland should have been sharper.
Spence. Tell. Ripped off his toe by Casemiro. Casemiro drew the foul. Manchester United have the free kick, and Spurs have a couple of changes to make here. Sarr and returning from injury, Brennan Johnson. James Maddison first to be withdrawn. Appreciative of those who are appreciative of him. Back in the team and from very close range, back on target. And joining him on his way off is Lucas Bergvall.
Yeah, Brennan Johnson will come onto this right-hand side, and Kulusevski will go into that position where he was fantastic earlier on in the season. Just off Tell.
Dalot for United. Hoyland a willing chaser. Davies across to meet him. Casemiro caught on it. And here's Kulusevski. And ahead of him, Johnson's on his bike for the first time. Brennan Johnson. Corner last off to Ligt.
Tough 5 minutes, Spurs, but those fans behind the goal recognising that they've responded and come back into the game in the second half.
In by Kulusevski. Tap by Maguire. Johnson's going to be first there. He's flown over Dalot and got himself a free kick. A really big game up at Old Trafford, you'll recall, in the autumn. Brennan Johnson, a goal very early off the back of that sensational Van de Ven run. An assist for Kulusevski later in that game. Finding it a hard watch. Son delivers. Kulusevski's cheeky little flick. Corner given.
Yeah, it was interesting because Hoyland has moved out of that space where that ball was played into. Which meant Dalot just had to come across and get the block in. Well, they're just getting involved in a little bit of a push and shove.
Son plays it in. Look for Kulusevski. Xerxes clearance. Spence is there to meet it. Kulusevski jousting with Bruno Fernandes. Cleared by Casemiro. Back by Davis. Spence. Son. Spence. Sarr. Bentancur. Son. Spence. It's a lively game. Jet Spence kicks up kindly for another. And we're into the game's final quarter. Between them to this point, just James Maddison's goal shortly before the quarter hour. Hoyland and Zirkzee let it roll. And Porro saw that. And Johnson initiates an immediate counter. Beyond him is Kulusevski, inside of him is Tell. It's Dejan Kulusevski, Tapsar. Son. Son Heung-min. Yet another corner, this time Mazraoui with the intervention.
Yeah, Tottenham counter-attacking off the back of a sloppy one at the other end between Hoyland and Zirkzee. It's a 4-on-4. United having to defend another set piece. They're actually defending them quite well today. They've got decent height in there. I mentioned in the first half, Hoyland, Casemiro, Maguire, Dalot, De Ligt, Zirkzee, all capable in the air.
Son again to the near post. Is that a shot? His smile suggests it might well have been.
I think it definitely was. A little bit of a panic on Onana.
Well, it was in that goal that actually Altay for Manchester United suffered the indignity of conceding one of those. Mazraoui away from Son. Come back for Spence. Spence towards Johnson. Catching up here is Kulusevski. Wide of him is Porro, who's clashed with Dorgu. Dorgu, Zirkzee, Hoyland's after this, and Danso threw in a boot to a terrific and critical effect.
Oh, he did. It was a really good pass from Zirkzee. Yeah, he did well, the centre-back. Good link play between Zirkzee and Hoyland. It's a desperate lunge at the end. He has to get there, and he does.
No margin for error. Last 20. Mazraoui. Dalot, led by Porro. Fernandez. Dalot. Mazraoui's cross. Zirkzee! And there was a fair target area.
Oh, he has to score. There's a few really good crosses have come in from that side from United in this half. This one, he's got no one around him. He just has to glance it into that far corner. Is he just reaching a little bit for it? But I still think he has to do better than that.
Garnacho. Casemiro. Garnacho went to ground, nothing doing. Casemiro. Hoyland! Porro's behind it. the start of the second half that Manchester United have scored just 11 goals away from home in the Premier League this season, and the scorer of many of those missing. There is no Ahmed Martinez. Rashford going to go a fair way down what is a fairly thin list.
Yeah, it should be more than 11. They've had 2 or 3 really good chances in this game.
Casemiro. Dalot. Bruno Fernandes. Garnacho. Manchester United have a corner.
You just get the feeling those Spurs fans behind the goal sort of know what's coming. They're feeling it.
The Spurs have had 6 corners in the second half. This is Manchester United's first. Bruno Fernandes takes. Vicario gets palms on it. Fernandes again. And Dorgu. And Casemiro. He's tumbled. Peter Banks has waved it away. And Spurs are on their way. Got caught on it. Manchester United can come again. Zirkzee away from Bentancur. Dancel away from Højlund, and Davis asks Vicario to clear. Porro. Johnson a worry for Dorgu. It's come to Son. Towel! Again, lacking vigour.
Well, it's end to end. He just puts it across, Johnson. He just can't turn Maguire and get around in time, and he ends up at Son, just knocking it off the tail. He just puts both arms out. He's a little bit unorthodox. He's a dramatic fall from Casemiro.
Dorgu. Spurs are preparing Archie Gray, who has played with such spirit and willingness. Almost relentlessly, seamlessly through this awkward period for Tottenham. Over recent months, he's sat out all but the last quarter of an hour here, but he's got a part to play. Garnacho ran into Porro. Son finding space and dashing into it, and getting away from Dalot.
Dancel's limping. If you just look at the Spurs number 4, the bottom left of the picture,
which would explain Archie Gray, of course.
I wonder if he did it when he lunged with Højlund earlier, when he stretched.
Bentancur. Caught on it by Casemiro, in turn caught on it by Sarr. Kulusevski. We're going to go around Dorgu, who's gone to ground and did well to get a toe on it.
Yeah, he did. He stuck at it. He's saying, don't make the substitution yet, I'm going to score. And he's going to go off.
Well, there appears to be a health warning that goes with playing centre-half for Tottenham this season. Van de Ven, Romero, Dragoshin, and now, hopefully not too seriously, Kevin Danso goes off, as indeed does Bentancur, replaced respectively by Archie Gray and Yves Bissouma. For Bissouma, what a first touch that was. Johnson. And Johnson tumbles. Again, nothing doing. Kulusevski. Son. Kulusevski beaten away by Onana. Out by De Ligt. On by Maguire. Xerxes. Højlund. Garnacho. Dorgu's gone beyond him. Dorgu. Højlund! And Spencer scampered back at full tilt.
Yeah, the game's gone a little frantic. Hits it first time, Højlund. You see what he's trying to do, he put it into that far corner. This is the Kulusevski one. He's not going to hit it with his right foot, which I think he would have been better off doing. Becomes quite precise and predictable for Onana to read that one.
In by Fernandes. Vicario did well to get access to it. De Ligt could re-deliver. Casemiro's header. Thrashed away by Son.
Well, you'd be amazed if this game finished 1-0.
Fernandes back in. Vicario is happy to let it roll. In amongst all the cut and thrust, Ben Davies booked for a challenge, after which the referee allowed the game to continue. There on Højlund. Charge down involved the use of a hand by Kulusevski. And there are 10 minutes to play. And they're all still wrapped up in hats and scarves and coats, the young United substitutes.
Yeah, I can think that Amram and his coaching staff are thinking there's a good chance a goal will come if we carry on as we are.
Fernandes drove it in, Bissouma headed it clear, and Tell's on his way, and Son's with him, and so is Johnson. This is Brennan Johnson, behind him is Kulusevski. Kulusevski's cross, and Maguire is there to meet it. And Brennan Johnson is still ailing. Weight slipped beneath him here.
Yeah, there's no foul, it's just an unfortunate accident when he loses his footing, his right foot goes beneath him, and then Dorgu just can't get out of the way.
It's not a great sight for Tottenham either. Rodrigo Bentancur is one of several who've missed a big chunk of Ange Postecoglou's second season. Xerxes. Fernandes. Dorgu's cross. Ball passes all of them. Long weekend of Premier League football from Sky Sports next weekend, starting on Friday night with Leicester against Brentford. Saturday night football from Villa Park. Villa Chelsea's an attractive looking game, and Super Sunday has a couple of belters. There's a lot on Newcastle against Nottingham Forest around those Champions League positions, and Manchester City Liverpool speaks for itself next Sunday, Sky Sports Premier League. Casemiro, Xerxes, Fernandes, Garnacho keeps on biting away. Garnacho, Xerxes couldn't execute his volley. And Spence is first to the loose ball, and Tell moves it on. And Son's in a hurry too. Mazraoui got back to meet him. Fernandes. Lovely ball for Dalot. He's got himself his corner. Manchester United keep chasing.
Yeah, he's a big ass for Spurs with Gray and Davis at centre-back. To keep this Manchester United team out for the next 10 minutes. A big height advantage here, United.
Lifted up towards De Ligt, who's attacking it. And twisting was Casemiro. And it's slipped away from in front of his goalkeeper. And Brennan Johnson. Dorgu. Basuma protecting. Porro emerging. Son for Tell. And Tell can have a run here. And Dallow's in reverse. Matisse Tell. Garnacho filling in at fullback. So clattered away from him by Davis. Terrific engagement here from the Tottenham support as they seek to get their side over the line. They've hungered for home success here. They want some more. Spurs sub. Son Heung-min has got through a heavy workload, and it has started to become evident, and so he gives way, enabling as he hands over the armband to the goalkeeper. Another good news item for Tottenham supporters. This is the return of Wilson Odobert, who sustained his thigh injury in a League Cup tie at Coventry on the 18th of September. And finally now returns to first team action. To great acclaim. Kulusevski, Sarah wants it. Heaves it out. Davis away. Casemiro. Fernandes took a hit from Sarr there. Maguire saw it out of play. Just a fourth appearance in the Premier League this season. The season that he began still as a Championship player with Burnley. Fernandes, cut out by Spence. Taken by Højlund. It's Dalot. Spence tight to Højlund, but Sarr has touched it behind.
Yeah, it's a poor touch from Sarr, and it puts his team under real pressure. Didn't need to take it out of play there.
Bruno Fernandes surrounded by Manchester United support in that corner.
Oh, Casemiro's free. You see him there, the 18.
Fernandes takes Casemiro on the header.
Oh, he's never picked up. You're just always looking at corners and thinking who's got who are the danger men. He's the biggest for United. Him and Maguire. He's able to set himself. Maybe he's just a little bit too high for him.
Sarr. He's ridden the challenge. And Sarr has rolled it in here for Tal. De Ligt stood his ground. What a bear. He's tricky. Matisse Tal. Rana intervened. And we're into the 90th minute, and Manchester United are in a tearing rush.
Oh dear.
And Porro's gone flying over Dorgu. Dorgu's one flying over Porro.
It all came from a really poor throw from Onana. You see it a mile off. And if you watch Tottenham play, you know that Porro's going to jump. And he does, and he reads it well. Watch him go there. He just snaps in, and Dorgu, stitched up. Such a bad throw. He nearly hits Casemiro with it.
Panicky moment for Manchester United, on the verge of yet one more defeat. And here, at last, is their first change. Casemiro giving way to the 17-year-old Dane Chido Obi, who has much of his football career to thank Arsenal for, out of the Arsenal Academy, and now scoring at a phenomenal rate.
Yeah,
for
I like
Manchester United's junior teams.
I like what Xerxes did there. He said, no, you stay out of it and get ready to go forward.
Kulusevski, Porro, out by Mazraoui. Porro, Ben Davis, corner.
Spurs still trying to score a goal. There's no sight of them running it into the corner and playing for time. Only a couple of minutes left. He swings that right leg at it, boots it. Ben Davis. Maybe they will just keep it in the corner now.
Tottenham supporters vocally, evidently beginning to believe in the possibility at last of a home win. Tell can't keep it. Dalot, cut out by Johnson. Xerxes keeps working. But he can't find Dorgu.
United's last 3 or 4 passes have been awful. They've not been able to get out of their own half, just through their own passing. It's a frustrating day, or a frustrating 92 minutes so far for Ruben Amorim. They've had chances.
Sarr down the line, Kulusevski who hemmed De Ligt in.
Was through.
Back forward here towards Matisse Tell, whose first touch enabled Onana to come and snatch.
I didn't know where the goalkeeper was.
One last thrust for Manchester United. Player of the match, Gary.
Yeah, it's not been an easy one to choose, but I think Jed Spencer's been as good as any for Spurs, the left back. A lot of space on that side, but he stuck to his task well.
And these are the final seconds. For Tottenham Hotspur, the sweet, warming taste of victory. One man's comfort is another's deep unease. For Manchester United, the bitter, gut-churning sensation of yet one more spirit-sapping defeat. James Maddison's early goal turned out to be the only goal. Tottenham have a home win in the Premier League for the first time in 15 weeks. They complete a league double over Manchester United for the first time in 35 years. The United narrative is stuck in the mud. Spurs, at last, on their own patch, can find something to smile about.
Yeah, 105 days Spurs have waited, and Spurs fans have waited to win a home Premier League game. But it's James Maddison's goal. Just capitalised, a little bit of an error from Onana, who he just goes and greets. And then there was some desperation towards the end. Garnacho had big chances for United, and maybe they could have levelled. But the overall performance, again, pretty poor and worrying for Ruben Amorim's men.
Well, this was always going to be a nasty one to lose, and so for United and Amorim, it will feel. For Tottenham and Ange Postecoglou, a moment to come up and breathe. Just perhaps, the hint of a corner turned. The final score, Tottenham Hotspur 1, Manchester United 0.
Well, Jermaine, we just saw him there, James Maddison, the man whose goal separates these two sides. How big a win is that for Tottenham?
Long time coming. Yes, a massive win against a Man United team who's obviously struggled as well this season. I thought the performance was good. Spence was unbelievable. You know, everything he did. But that's what happens when you defend, when you stand in your position. I thought that going forward he was good. 1v1 is good. He's defending that man there, Maddison. I spoke before about if he can bring his best and the best version of Maddison, then he's a top player, and obviously he got the goal. He just reacted quicker than anyone else. And I think what's probably more pleasing than anything else was the clean sheet. His clean sheet. Man United they had a few chances, half chances, but it didn't really looking like they really was going to sort of cut Spurs open, so that was quite pleasing.
Yeah, it's been a long time since these Spurs players have been able to celebrate in front of the home fans, having won a football match in the Premier League. It's happened today, but as Jermaine sort of alluded to there, do we have to put it into the context of the opposition that they were up against?
Oh, absolutely. I think if you're having a bad run, I don't think there's a team you'd like more to come to town than Manchester United right now. They're a team that's struggling, devoid of confidence, just devoid of quality, got a load of injuries today. Casemiro really is the only sort of defensive midfield player in there. It's a team that's really struggling right now, and I said before, there's going to be a lot of pain with this team. They are so short of top players. It's going to take a lot of time, and these performances are going to keep coming thick and fast. It's going to need a lot of time and patience. The problem is when you're a club with enormity of Manchester United, you don't really want to hear that because you're going to be winning. You're used to it. You're used to challenging. I thought he did all right today, Xerxes. I thought he was certainly one of the bright sparks. There wasn't too many others. It was a really disappointing result for them, disappointing performance. It's very difficult to watch if you're a Man United fan.
The Man United players dejected as they walk off the pitch, but Spurs have had an opportunity to go and celebrate with their fans. A bit of relief for Ange Postecoglou and Tottenham Hotspur this evening. Elsewhere in the Premier League across the weekend, it got started with that 3-0 victory for Brighton against Chelsea. Couple of big games in terms of the top of the table, with Arsenal's 2-0 win against Leicester that also has a significance for teams at the bottom, particularly with Ipswich picking up a point at Aston Villa. Manchester City's significant win over Newcastle, big one in terms of Champions League places. And then earlier today, Liverpool with that 2-1 win, a hard-fought 2-1 win against Wolves to maintain their lead at the top of the table. You can see all the weekend's goals on the Sky Sports app. Best way to do it is to scan the QR code that you can see on your screen right now. And here's where we stand with one game still to go. Manchester United dropped down into 15th place after the game so far this weekend. Tottenham up into 12th, looking relatively comfortable, pushing for the top half of the table. They have 30 points now from their 25 games played. Meanwhile, at the top, that victory for Liverpool earlier on only just did it against Wolves, but it means they are 7 points clear of Arsenal at the top of the table. Nottingham Forest and Manchester City completing the top 4 places, and if it goes to 5 at the moment, that is occupied by Bournemouth. Well, James Maddison celebrating at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium with the winning goal in this game, but everybody, he says, is talking about the darts. And he's absolutely right. There is more for you to watch. Premier League dart continues. Week 3 comes from Dublin. It's on Thursday on Sky Sports Plus from 7 o'clock. And what would be my darts nickname, the White Lotus, starts on Monday on Sky Atlantic. Season 3 is set in Thailand. You can watch that on Sky Atlantic because it's poisonous. There's going to be live WSL action coming up for you. Manchester City take on Liverpool. That's up next on Sky Sports Football. But right here, we'll be reflecting on that win for Tottenham. It's been a long time coming for the Lily Whites against Manchester United. It was 1-0. James Maddison on the score sheet. His 9th Premier League goal of the season. We'll reflect on it next.